All right, we want to talk a little bit about how technology can help you and your team prioritize and really get to what the mission is for that team or the company overall. In order to achieve the mission in an effective time frame, the right technology and tools can be very useful when configured and deployed correctly. We all know that when it's measurable and the path and actions required are very clear, prioritization becomes less of a burden or a guessing game. So let's go to the whiteboard and see how technology can help us do that. When it comes to getting our priorities right, the first thing we need to do is understand what we should be doing in the first place. On the personal level, this is relatively easy, but getting the entire enterprise aligned is no easy task. One way to do that, or one digital tool we can leverage to accomplish this, is a digital bulletin board, if you will, or a public square. One of the most effective digital public squares out there is going to be either your intranet or some other kind of digital meeting place that can store those mission objectives for everyone to see. This can be public or internal only. It all depends on what that priority is. Okay, and really that should be used as the town square, and it should really be loud, bold, and clear and say, hey, this is where we're going and this is why. It should answer those questions easily for the organization, but the next layer below that is where the magic starts to happen, and that is in the day-to-day work. The day-to-day work should always feed into the mission objectives. You should always be driving towards those key indicators or metrics. So what is going to get us there? What does success look like? Always be tracking this. There are different methods out there, obviously. You can use OKRs or KPIs to measure this, but you really need to define it. You need to say, this is why we're measuring it this way, and this is the outcomes we're trying to achieve. Okay? This should also be reviewed on a relatively regular basis. As leaders, we should always be talking to our teams about the mission happening up there at the top level, taking them out of their team day to day. All right, so when you're meeting on either Teams or Slack, you should really design the channels in those communication tools to align to that. It should align to the bigger objectives. So if you have a client-specific team, make sure you can bring those key metrics that you're measuring to get you where you're going strategically into that strategic intent. Now, when you're working on your day-to-day, you should probably be filling out a task list or some kind of tracker. And if configured correctly, it will feed into your digital pool of information. This task list should align to those KPIs. And when you do that, another magical thing will occur. At the strategic level, when you have your larger meetings or we call them keystone forums, when you have those bigger meetings, you can then review those key performance indicators and see if you're achieving your mission or objective. So now these KPIs roll up into it, and it can be a dashboard or some kind of really easy to understand chart. We like Power BI as a dashboard, but any kind of dashboarding tool is going to be useful here. But these things should be tracked, measurable, and on display for the entire organization to see. And that is one kind of trick to really drive prioritization and make sure it's measurable and everybody understands where you're going.